For more on this, I'm joined from Beirut by Raghida Dergham, advisor to Al Arabiya on American and international affairs. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time and for joining me.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you on. I just want to start with the UN Security Council. It has approved a US-backed proposal that does pave a way for an international stabilization force in Gaza. But what challenges remain? There seem to be so many obstacles to come in this US-backed 20-point peace plan.
So many obstacles indeed, because it is going very slow. And that's why the administration decided that it needed to go to the Security Council to give an internationalization aspect to what is known now as the Trump plan, the 20-point Trump plan. The challenges are many, including the International Stabilization Force, which is facing difficulty recruiting countries to come in. And the main reason is that those countries don't want to come into a confrontation with Hamas, to disarm Hamas, if you will. And so who is going to disarm Hamas if Hamas is not willing to disarm itself? Therefore, then the question is, will Israel do it? And will the United States approve an Israeli barrage on Hamas in order to disarm it? So the challenges are many. I guess the challenges are also related to the Israeli position, because the Israelis are also not budging on their insistence on having control of Gaza and having their own plans for Gaza. So it's a challenge. There is many problems, not a problem. What seems to be the case right now is that the administration is intent and absolutely decided that there is nothing that's going to fail the Trump plan, which is not only for Gaza, but it's also for the Middle East.
And the resolution also references a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. And we know Israel is strongly opposed to a two-state solution. Are we likely to see the US apply more pressure on Israel to get Saudi on board?
There is no other way. The United States has got to apply pressure on Israel if it wants its Abrahamic Accords to be thought about seriously by the Saudis. That is what President Trump wants, in effect. There is no way that the continued annexation, de facto annexation of the Israelis, by the Israelis of the West Bank, not only of Gaza, that is an obstacle towards the actual building of a Palestinian state. So the Saudis made it very clear, just don't go anywhere else. You want normalization with Israel, and you want us to do it, then you really need to force the Israelis to deliver on a two-state solution. The problem is that what kind of pressure would President Trump be able to put on Israel? I don't think the Congress or the president himself would want to withhold weapons or military equipment to Israel, F-35s or others. But there's the personality of Donald Trump. When he says, no, there will be no annexation of the West Bank, people have to take it, and they do take his words seriously. When he says to Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, do not fail me because I am bigger than you and I supply you with what you need, then Netanyahu will have to take note of that. His problem is that his government is so extremist, but there is no way there will be a normalization, definitely not on the strip of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. But what the administration wanted is to bring about, as you correctly pointed out, a pathway towards a Palestinian state and self-determination, and they thought that was a good face-saving device, and it is important. Not only is just for face-saving device, but it's important to have the Crown Prince receive this assurance from the United States, and it's important to have the issue of Palestine in the Security Council in the United Nations, because that's about internationalization of the Palestinian issue.
So President Donald Trump, he sees himself as a peacemaker and, of course, a deal maker with Mohammed bin Salman by his side. Is this a new era for the Middle East that we are now seeing?
Indeed, it's very much a new era. the bilateral relationship between the two countries is at a very important, incredibly intimate and constructive point. Also, don't forget the chemistry, as it's always said, between the two men. The two men like each other, and somehow that also is a necessity in making policies. But more importantly, I think, if we look at the vision of MBS, it's 2030, but it's for not only Saudi Arabia, it is for the whole Middle East, the peace of the Middle East, the countries of the Middle East going into the path of renovation, if you will, sort of like, they have to stop the wars and the it's construction rather than destruction. If you put the vision of MBS together with a plan of Donald Trump called the Trump Plan, you will see that they merge in their aspirations for peace, for prosperity, for taking the region away from destruction, as I said, into construction. So I think the two men will work on that, and that vision and the plan will intersect, and I think that will give momentum to both men and both visions and plans.
Raghida, Dergham, it was brilliant to have you on the show. And as you did say, a warm relationship there between the US President Donald Trump and the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman as they did greet each other at the White House.